Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to the Vampire Amazon Challenge in The Sims 4. We are following the reign of Queen Darling Cloudy Snarl, who has recently celebrated the wedding of Lord Yorick and Crown Princess Nimue. And this divisive occasion is only adding to the buzz of the Vampyric tournament. It is the final event of her generation, marking an end to her long and fruitful reign. And everyone's eyes are on the prize, because for the vampires heading into the next court, an extra influence point could be all that stands between death and exile. Hold on, I know you might have questions because I did promise an archery tournament, but I have to be honest guys, I tried recording the archery tournament and I got through half of the battle order, but it was very boring to watch and I wasn't really having fun like I do with the fighting tournaments, so I decided that we'll scrap that and just stick to vampiric spas and sword fighting. We'll host the vampiric tournament every spring and autumn, and we'll have the sword fighting tournament every summer and winter. At this point, I'm sure you guys are familiar with how the battle order will be decided. It's based on a system of social ranking, and if you want an in-depth explanation, I highly recommend watching the beginning of episode 27 where we had the sword fighting tournament. But the battle order for this tournament will be Nimue, Vladislav, Lilith, Caleb, Akira, and Queen Darling. The idea is to work your way from the weakest competitor to the strongest one and earn the title of champion. In our first battle, Crown Princess Nimue is challenging Lady Vladislav, so I'm excited to see how this goes. With all of the vampires, their bloodline deities have blessed them, which is why everyone has max needs right now, or at least they're starting off with max needs. So, come on you guys. They hate each other, so I don't even know if they're gonna be in the mood to get this done. Oh, come on. Come on. Can you guys spar with each other? Oh geez, they're already getting distracted, guys. Maybe they can't do like a friendly one because they don't like each other. If they can't do a friendly one, I will get them to do a mean one. Their relationship is that bad. It's in the red. But it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? That for them this is not a friendly thing. It is an actual aggressive thing that they end up sparring with each other, or they're taking this contest like really seriously. They're gonna be at each other's throats. Okay, I think this is clear indication that we need to go a different route with them. They're gonna have to do a vampiric duel because their relationship unfortunately is so bad that they cannot do a vampiric spa. There we go. They're okay with a duel. So this is serious business for the two of them. Serious business for the two of them. Oh my goodness. Two vampires who hate each other. I'm excited to see how this goes. This is so much more exciting than the archery tournament. Honestly, the archery tournament, I'm gonna be honest, doesn't have this level of drama. Vladislav just served Nimue her backside. I don't think that is a good look for the future queen. Look at her, she looks so pitiful. I don't think that's a good look for the future queen, guys. And the sad thing is that if we look at the reactions of the other vampiresses, the queen and counselors are on their feet looking at this. Lilith is looking away. And Yorick does not seem to be as engaged with this whole battle as he is with talking to Lady Pierce, which is not great because he is now Lord Consort, so you would think that he would be giving his wife some attention, but I also feel like Yorick is the type of person who wants to make the most of his position right now and try and build more connections in court, kind of like social climbing, instead of being present for Nimue with Nimue. It almost feels like she's the one clinging to him. Ay, ay, ay. But you know what, guys? The fact that our vampires are actually reacting to this battle, when we were doing the archery tournament, they were not reacting at all. They were like sitting in their seats with blank faces. So I think that's double proof that the archery tournament was in fact very boring. Like, I'm reacting, they're reacting, this is great. I mean, not so great for Nimue, but just in general, it's exciting. Oh my goodness. And the fact that they took that really, really seriously, this would be so humiliating for Nimue, but let's move on to the next battle. In our second battle, Lady Vladislav will be challenging Lady Lilith. And unfortunately, I wonder if it's because Vladislav is an evil sim and she probably takes this way too seriously. And she views all the battles as a way to basically push her rivals into the dirt. She goes into it with malicious intent. She was unable to do like a friendly spar with Lilith, so I basically just let the two of them converse with each other with autonomy on, either to build up friendship enough so that Lilith could accept the interaction, or to ruin their relationship enough so that she could challenge Lilith to a vampiric duel. Well, as you can see, they have a relationship in the red right now, so things are not the greatest between the two of them. I think Vladislav was definitely hurling some insults, or maybe trying to sneak in some subtle insults to Lilith, which she did not take too well. And she was able to engage her in a vampiric duel, which is what's happening right now. I also find it fascinating that Shannon, the last kind of villainous plotter we had, was whispering something. Like, her ghost actually came here to witness this particular battle, and she was whispering things into Vladislav's ear. So she might have some opinions about Lilith, and we know they had beef back in the day. She might have some opinions about Lilith that she probably shared with Vladislav, who then mentioned those things, and Lilith did not like it. So let's see how this goes. Who between the two of them is going to win over here? I hope it's Lilith, because Vladislav she's not fun right now. Vladislav is mean. Well, I can't say she's mean. She's just downright evil. Yes, Lilith! Good on you, Lilith. I am so proud of you right now. That's right, Vladislav. You eat dirt. You eat dirt. And Shannon's cheering. She's so two-faced. She started being nicer to Lilith when Lilith was no longer a counselor, but before that point, she was so mean. She, I think, was one of the pivotal things that changed Lilith's personality from being nice and sweet to suddenly not wanting to participate in court life. I don't like her. I really don't like her. But let's move on to the next battle. In our third battle, Lady Lilith will be challenging Lady Caleb, and I hope that... There we go! So the sparring is going through with them, I think. I might be wrong. Yes, it is! They can have a friendly spar with each other because they are friends. But for Sims who don't, you either need to become friends, I think, or you have to go ahead and be enemies so you can have a vampiric duel. But between the two of them, they've always had good relations in court, so I think they would see this as just a way to show off their skills. Caleb! Look at that! Okay, Caleb won, but I don't think there's any hard feelings between the two of them. I'm not sure if Vladislav is just unable to have anything but a duel with someone because she's evil, or if it's the friendship thing. I don't think I've had this issue beforehand. I remember in the previous Vampiric tournament, nothing of the sort occurred, but we also did not have any evil Sims in the mix, so I'm a little bit unsure. But I'm happy with Caleb. I'm happy with Lilith. I do hope, though, that Caleb potentially wins as the ultimate champion, because if she does, then that's going to be useful since she will be a member of the next generation's court. However, if Akira takes the influence point, then it's not necessarily going to help anyone, because Akira is going to retire with Queen Darling. If Queen Darling becomes the ultimate champion, like she has been for the past 2 tournaments, then Crown Princess Nimue is going to have to work even harder to get out of her mother's shadow in the next generation, because she'll have more influence points to catch up on. But let's go ahead and move on to the next battle. In our 4th battle, Lady Caleb will be challenging Lady Akira, and they also have a good relation in court, so they're not treating this as a life or death situation, thank goodness. Akira, I don't know, she's been around way longer than Caleb has. She is pretty strong, but I feel like Caleb is too in her own right, so this could go either way. Although in the past, Akira, of course Akira won. Of course she won. I definitely do think Akira is quite a tough cookie. I mean, guys, think about it. Isn't it wild that when we started the series, we thought that Akira would have a very difficult time, she was kind of struggling, and she has lasted till the very end. She is the only other vampire that was with the queen in episode 1, and she's with the queen, like, in the final couple of episodes. Isn't that wild? But I am very proud of Akira. It is unfortunate because it does mean that this influence point that will be won is not going through into the next generation. It's going to stay within generation 1, but it's going to be intriguing if Darling is the one who ends up winning overall. Like, Nimue is going to have to work so hard for people to not compare her to her mother and see her as a lesser queen. For our final battle, Lady Akira is challenging Queen Darling, a 2-time tournament champion. So let's see how this goes. Also, I was looking at Yorick and Lady Pierce in the background. They only started paying attention to the tournament in the last battle when Akira came into the picture. So they obviously have a lot of respect for the higher ranking vampires and the older vampires, but they were completely distracted talking to each other, and Queen Darling has won. But they were distracted talking to each other before that point. They only really focused on the last 2 battles. So I feel like it kind of shows they're a little bit of, social climbers. But congratulations to Queen Darling for being a 3-time tournament champion. So she has won. I don't think Akira would be upset at all. She's graciously accepting this defeat. And for everyone who is serving on the Queen's Council, for everyone who has served under her reign, I think it would make them proud as vampires that they served under such a successful and a strong queen. But like I said, this does mean, look at Nimue. Nimue is feeling so, I don't know, sad right now. She's feeling so uncomfortable. Okay, she's feeling uncomfortable and now tense. And I think it comes down to the fact that she realizes mantle of being queen is not something she ever asked for. It was thrust on her by virtue of her being the last living child of the current queen. She knows that there are mixed feelings in court about her because she does not want children, about her marriage because she does not want children, and now she's gonna have to work even harder to catch up to Queen Darling. I'm gonna have to check my notes, but I'm pretty sure after her marriage, Nimue has 3 influence points, and Queen Darling has 9 right now. So at the time of her abdication, I'll check again just to just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure Darling has 9, and Nimue only has 3. So she has a lot to catch up on. Until she reaches the same amount of influence points that Queen Darling has, people are not going to consider her as good of a queen as her mother. And if she wants to become or be known as a better queen than Darling, well, obviously she has to do better. She's going to need 10 influence points. So that's kind of crazy. That is a huge legacy to have to overcome. And she already knows what she's going to be going through. And I find it fascinating that Vladislav, over the course of this tournament, has also kind of ruined her relationship with Lilith, and they will be serving in the next court together. And I'm a little bit worried about whether Vladislav is going to survive Nimue being queen. We might just see our first judgment in the next generation, which I'm excited for, but I'm also sad about because I really like Vladislav. I wanted her genes to kind of propagate and continue, but based on her behavior, she might be digging herself a hole. And if a judgment does come, obviously Lilith is gonna, at this point in time, vote for her death and not her exile, and Vladislav won't have a chance to return, potentially in season 3. I don't know how this is gonna go, okay? So there's a lot for us to work with. There's a lot for us to work with. The tournament has come to a close. Everyone is going about doing their own thing. I honestly am so, at this point, opposed to the idea of letting them have free will and do anything that's gonna potentially take them outside and get anyone killed. But I think it would be interesting for us to kind of see where everyone's thoughts are at, especially as we are pretty much coming to a close. This isn't the last video. Next episode is going to be the finale. But still, I think it'll be nice for us to see how everyone is feeling as the ending is nigh. So we'll go ahead, see what the ladies are wanting to do. Also, if you're wondering how Vladislav was having such good behavior and not flying away, it's because I had to disable her ability to teleport as a mist, and that is the only way she was staying in her booth. Otherwise, you bet she would have been down in the crypt in the middle of the tournament, probably in the middle of her own battle. But we're going to focus on the whims and thoughts of the older ladies, everyone except for Nimue. So, Lady Vladislav, guys, wants to make an enemy. And before the tournament, I was 100% sure that this would have been inevitable for Vladislav and Nimue. However, we do have now another Vampyress in the mix, because in the course of the tournament, Vladislav, she, as you know, was poking and prodding Lilith after having the ghost of Shannon whisper things into her ear, and their relationship has gotten really bad. So let's take a look. She has a -100 with Crown Princess Nimue and a -100 with Lilith. Typically, when this is the case, I look at the compatibility. Now, she has a good compatibility with Nimue. She has a bad compatibility with Lilith. So she is going to declare Lilith as, as her enemy. Very unexpected, very unexpected. But this has definitely delayed Vladislav becoming an enemy potentially with the Crown Princess, and it might have extended her life a little bit more. Although, right now, the smarter thing for sure is to become enemies with Lilith instead of the Crown Princess, because the Crown Princess is going to have power in the next generation and it's going to be an automatic judgment. However, right now, Vladislav and Lilith are not members of the council, so there is kind of a lesser chance that this enemyship is going to impact her badly. She's becoming enemies with someone who's on the same playing field, so that is quite wise, I want to say, but I don't think that's the case. It's probably pure coincidence. Then again, Vladislav is quite calculative, because we saw how she baited Zoro, so this could be an intelligent move on her part to, yes, get on Nimue's nerves, but don't give Nimue the reason or the excuse that she needs to call a judgment, because even if they absolutely hate each other's guts, unless they are enemies, a judgment cannot be called. And what is with all this trash? I'm just gonna delete all this stuff over here. No, we don't want to deal with that. Okay, Caleb. Caleb wants to solve hard problems. Most definitely. Caleb has the most balanced relationship with everyone in court. She has 100% noticed that things were looking... She was the one person who was paying attention throughout the entire tournament to every single battle happening. And I think she can see that there are some severe issues between Lilith and Vladislav, between Vladislav and Nimue, and she's gonna be in the middle of that in the next generation. So I think she'd be trying to figure out how she can smooth things over. Even in the wedding in the last episode, she was trying to smooth things over with Akira, because Akira had a different perspective to Caleb, and the court was divided on Nimue's marriage. So, Caleb. Caleb is like the one vampire at this point who's working really hard to make sure that there is some semblance of peace. But it kind of feels like the court that Nimue gets is going to be broken up into many pieces. Okay, she is done thinking. She might need more time to come up with an actual solution. Meanwhile, Lady Lilith wants to play the piano, so I'm going to take her upstairs. She is going to be playing. Is there anyone up here? Yes. Well, Caleb's here, so why don't you play a song? Well, help I'm not alive, at this point. Help, I've become an enemy to an evil vampiress. Yes, help, please. So she's gonna go upstairs. She's gonna play the organ. I kind of feel as though... there was a period with Lilith because she was so uninvolved in everything, could see the reality of everyone around her. But I feel as though ever since she has become mean and decided to dull her own emotions, she might have lost that edge she had, because to have that edge, to be that observant, you do, to a certain extent, need to care about what others are doing, and she doesn't anymore. She kind of brushes it off. So I almost wonder if she's brushing off this new and terrible relationship that she has with Vladislav. And maybe right now Caleb's the only one who's going to be looking out for her. That's kind of scary to think about. Okay, Akira, you had something, and then you decided that you didn't have it anymore. So let's see what else we can get done for you. What's going on in your mind? Well, listen to some Astrop music. I think Akira, I mean, yes, she's gone through quite a bit of pain personally. Think about the losses she's had. She's lost pretty much everyone close to her, but individually, she has been quite the successful vampirist. The fact that she's survived this long, she's lived through so many things, she's going to be a legendary figure alongside Queen Darling. I feel like any vampire that manages to retire because of the high mortality rate, the death rate, they are going to become legends in vampiric culture and in the queendom. So as it stands, Akira and the Queen are going to become legends because they will retire. Hopefully, if nothing happens within the next, 1.5 episodes we have left. So I think she's just trying to enjoy that. She just wants to listen to music. She wants to enjoy all the hard work she's done. And Queen Darling is feeling quite sad. I mean, her reign is coming to an end. She wants to be mischievous. She wants to end off, I suppose, on a bit of a playful note. So let's see who she has the closest relationship with. She has a 12 with Lilith, a 19 with Vladislav, a 44 with Caleb, a 47 with Akira, and 100 with Nimue. It's kind of sweet, though, that at the end, she does have, in a way, full faith in her daughter. There obviously are a lot of problems that Nimue is going to have to overcome, but at the end of the day, I could see Darling being proud of herself and being proud of the daughter that she has presented. So she wants to be mischievous with Nimue. She's trying to put aside probably a lot of the concerns that she has. Let's see. I don't, instill with false confidence makes the most sense to me. I think she would put all the concerns aside and try to end things off on a playful note with Nimue, a bit of a mischievous note. She would tease her a little bit. She would essentially pretend that everything is fine, even if that may not be the case, because what more can she do? She has done everything that was in her, well, at least she thinks, was in her power and ability to do so. And now it's going to be up to Nimue to handle the rest of it. And look, the fact that Yorick was already up here and then Nimue came and sat next to him when nobody sits in that corner. They were doing this during the wedding as well. They were sitting together a lot. But now that I'm thinking back on it, a lot of it was most definitely Nimue going to sit next to Yorick, and Nimue constantly approaching Yorick. But okay, guys, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.